going through our divisibility rules, 172 is divisible by 2 because it ends in an even number. For 3, 7 plus 2 equals 10. That number is not divisible by 3, so it's not a 3. It doesn't end in a 5 or a 0, so it's not a 5. And because it's not a 3, it's not a 6. And it's not divisible by 10 because it doesn't end in a 0. Let's check that. 172 is divisible by 2. You get an 86. And then 2 more, because that's still even, you get a 43. 43 is a prime number. So the factors of 172 are 1, 2, 4, 43, and 172. So 2 is the only one on that list. Okay. C plus 1 is an expression, because there's no equal sign. Let's see, word phrase. The difference of is kind of like the same thing as a minus. There's a C and a 28, and is a 37. The difference of C and 28. So that would be a subtraction. The C would have to be first also because the 37 is not a negative number. So, and there's no from or more than or less than, so it's not out of order as you read it left to right. So that would be the equation, and C would equal 65. Okay. Alright, solve for D. You can multiply to clear the denominator. If you don't multiply by a negative 17, then you then need to clear the negative now. So D is going to equal negative 85, however you do that. This one has a denominator of a 7. You can divide each side by negative 7, or you can divide by a 7. Then you get a negative here if you don't divide by a negative 7. So 560, and then you got to do the negative. Right. If you, let me be clear. You can write this as having the negative on the bottom, and you can multiply by a negative 7. Okay, and that would get you here. And then you're dividing by a positive 5, so it still would be a negative 112, either way you do it. Okay. Classify as conditional, which means X will still be there at the end and you'll get a number. Or identity, which means something like you're going to end up with the X's disappearing and something equaling something else. A contradiction would be when you have no solution. Or you get a contradiction or false statement. Something doesn't equal something else. So for both of these, your X's disappear as you're doing the work. The conditional, you're going to keep the X and find out what number it equals. So let's see what happens. Combine like terms on this side first. And over here I've got 2 X's to combine. And then I want to move my X's this way. I move them always to the left. Move my positive 9 by subtracting 9. So I'm going to get a negative 20x equals negative 8. Isolate my x, so I'm not losing my x here. So it's definitely going to be conditional. Negative over negative is a positive. And they're reducible by 4. So it's going to give you 2 over 5. Okay. And so that's conditional. All right, Travis brought a pair of boots. Sorry, hang on just a second. Travis bought a pair of boots on sale for $25 off the original price. He paid $60 for the boots. What was the original price of the boots? If you needed to use a variable, the original price minus 25 equals 60. Okay, and X stands for the dollar amount of the original price. You solve that and you get an 85. Okay, that's a way to write an equation with the variable for this. Number 8 says the area of a triangle. Area of a triangle is 1/2 base times height, or base times height over 2. All right, the area itself is 120. The base is 32, and we don't know what h is. So 120 equals 32h over 2. That's how I like to write them. I just find it easier. So then I'm going to clear the fraction and divide by the 32. And that would be inches. There's the dot there, 7.5. Okay. All right, number 9, the length of a rectangle is 3 times its width. Let's see, we're looking for perimeter. Perimeter equals 2L plus 2W. 2 lengths, 2 widths. All right, the length is, that's an equal 3 times the width. The perimeter is 240, and we don't know the width. So P is 240. And then 2 times the length would be 3W plus 2, and we don't know the width. Orders of operations says multiply here and add like terms. And isolate your width. 240 divided by 8 is 30. So the width is 30, and the length is 3 times 30, which is 90. I think it wants both of those. Okay, so the diameter of a circle, circumference, is 2 pi r, which is the same as d pi. The C is 28.26, and use that for pi. So that means we have 28.26 equals 3. The circumference is, it's 3.14, which is pi times whatever d is. So you can divide both sides by 3.14. Let me do that real quick. 28.28 divided by 3.14 gives me 9. The diameter is 9. All right, so 11, Aurelia is driving from Miami to Orlando at a rate of 65. The distance is 235. To the nearest tenth of an hour. How long will it take? So this is distance equals rate times time. Excuse me. The distance is 235 equals 65t. Get rid of the 65. This is going to be kind of a run-on number. 330. Let me check that. 235 divided by 65. Is 3.61538 and a whole bunch of other things. And then it says to the 10th, which is that. Because this is a 1, this doesn't change to a 7, we keep it. 4 and below, let it go. So, and 5 and above, give it a shove. So that stays a 6. Solve the formula for y. So there's what I'm looking for. So that means we're moving this term to the other side to get it out of the way to start getting our y alone. These are not like terms here, so that's a positive 16 and a positive 4. The order is unimportant. But then I do divide it by negative 8. Y equals 4x plus 16 divided by negative 8. If your instructor wants you to reduce that, remember you take the first term and divide it by the denominator. You turn this into a sum. This is a skill we're going to learn, do more on in chapter 5. So that's probably acceptable right now, but if you reduce this, you can. So that would be what? X over negative 2 minus 2. Okay. So either one. All right, then I'm going to combine like terms. There's an A, there's an A, there's an A. So 11 plus 10 plus 12 equals 33A. And there's a constant term, a constant term, and a constant term there. We'll talk about more like about what these terms are called, a variable term versus a constant term in chapter 5. But right now this is 7 plus 3 plus 9 is 19. So we put in this an expression together like that. Also accepted would be the 19 plus 33A. All right, and evaluate means substitute that in and tell me what that equals. So 7 times 7 times 7 is 343. Okay, remember that's an exponent there. And then this one, negative 2, and the x is negative 3. Then the minus from the problem, then a positive 3, and then a 2 from the y. And then a negative from here, and then z is a negative 4. Include those parentheses to get your partial credit for the substitution done correctly. Okay, let me double check. Those are two x's. I put negative 3, put the parentheses in. There's a 2 there, there's a negative 4 there. So I think I'm good. So this together, a negative times a negative is a positive. This together is a negative 6. This is a positive 4. This is a negative 15. So that's a 0. Literally a 0. I have a 0 on top. The whole thing reduces to a 0. All right, and the last one is an equivalent fraction, 54. That's times 6. So that's times 6 is 24. It's an equivalent fraction. Done.